Somebody come get 'em. They're too old for TikTok.
Hello and welcome to Too Old for TikTok. It is episode 175 and Catalina's back from her European adventure. Catalina, how are you? Tell us all about your adventure.
Oh, how much time do you have, really?
Well, usually we like the podcast to be like between 30 to 40 minutes. So
Okay, and I'm on, thank you first and foremost to Melissa and Ashley Yaloff, my stellar substitutes. I really appreciated them coming in clutch. I also was thinking that Ashley was a much better person to speak on the Olympics than me because first of all, I hadn't even begun really watching the Olympics because I was a little bit busy. And second of all, Ashley was in an honors gym class when we were in high school.
Okay, I didn't have an honors gym class in high school. That's amazing. I feel like I would have thrived in an honors gym class.
I feel like it was for popular kids, and I obviously was not in it.
Okay,
was
well,
for,
then
like,
I wouldn't have
sportif
thrived.
individuals. Yeah.
Oh.
That's not the room that I want to be in. That is not the room I want to be in when it happens. The room where it happens.
Famously, I know you were a great field hockey player who broke their back playing
I was
field
awful.
hockey.
I fractured my spine playing
powder puff
football.
Right,
A girl tackled me in practice and
sorry.
fractured my spine. Apart from that, I was also simply awful at field hockey. I'm not a sportif girl.
Oh, well,
I'm individual sports only.
like what?
Yoga, run, walk, bike. Like team sports I don't want to be on a team. I also don't want a ball flying at my face.
Oh my God, that reminds me of the Clueless quote when she got a nose job. It's like, I can't have balls flying in my face. And then she says, damn, I can't think of the quote. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Is it when they're at like gym class?
Yeah, and then Amber gets a doctor's notes. She can't play tennis, but then someone makes the joke that like sexually she has balls in her face.
That's really good.
I'm really bad at remembering movie quotes.
Well, I'm sorry to our listeners, but I also cannot remember that quote. Europe was lovely. I had a wonderful time. In terms of my TikTok usage in Europe, I definitely ended up on Spanish language TikTok, but I also primarily am just on Charlie XCX TikTok at this point. Like, I think I've just fully broken my TikTok algorithm. I've engaged too much with brat content, and I need to take a step back and unbratify my For You page. Although I actually love every single video, so I actually don't want to do that. So I won't.
Well, it's nice when you have a variation. I'd say like 10% Charlie XCX, 10% Olympics. It's nice to have a variety. I hate when it's all one thing. I feel like my For You page is all Olympics right now, which obviously makes sense. But I like a little variety in there.
We do love a variety pack.
We do.
Of content.
That's what's great about TikTok if the For You page is on.
Another thing is, so I'm back here, so I have unlimited data again. So yesterday I was taking the train from Grand Central to Connecticut to see my family, and I watched TikToks for like an hour. I felt really happy that I could do that. Although once in a while when you're on the train, you don't really have service. But it was a good moment to do my homework for my full-time job of being a podcast host.
The one thing I hate about the subway is that I can't watch TikToks because of the service going in and out. Like I'll start watching, but then the train will go and it's just terrible.
Yeah. We really know struggle.
It's such a struggle when you can't watch TikTok. But I'm glad you're back. And I'm glad you're TikToking away again. And let's get into your For You page. Besides Charlie XCX, what else you got?
So I want to highlight this one TikTok that I came across while I was taking on my lovely train ride. We're starting to get students going back to college, so we're getting a little bit of like rush TikTok and other things. But this was someone talking about his experience at orientation at UCLA.
Okay, so I recently had orientation at UCLA, and it was fun. Like, I had a good time. It was great. But the most embarrassing thing happened! Okay, so let me tell the story. So my major is Chinese, and I was the only one out of the entire orientation that had that major. But I didn't know that. Okay, keep that in mind. I didn't know that. And at orientation at UCLA, they put you in like groups of 8 to 12 people, all with the same major as you. And since I was the only one with a Chinese major, they just put me into like a random group. But they didn't tell me that. So this whole time I'm thinking that everyone in my group is also a Chinese major. and just like make sure I asked the people in my group, like, oh, what's your major? And a girl said CS Ling. And in my head, I'm like, oh, that must be short for Chinese. I found out later that CS Ling stands for Computer Science and Linguistics. But I didn't know that yet. So at this point, I'm still thinking that CS Ling is short for Chinese. So then we all go around and we say why we chose to be a CS Ling major. And I went first. And so I'm like, I chose this major because I just really love Chinese culture and I want to be in spaces and with people that, you know, can relate to having this interest. Oh, I'm so hungry! And everyone's like, what? Ah! And there were Chinese students in my group, and I could tell in their head, they're just like, what's that supposed to mean? And so they keep going around like saying why they chose to be a CS Ling major, and they're talking about like technology and how they want to start their own tech startup and like how they love to code. And in my mind, I'm just like, I guess you could use Chinese for that. But then one guy was talking about how like he won like an international like, coding competition, and I was like, wait, are you guys Chinese majors too? And they're like, no, we're computer science and linguistics. Like, why would we be Chinese majors? And I literally felt like my like secret identity was like being exposed. But I'm so glad we figured it out. Cause like, imagine if I spent the rest of the session being like, so like, are you guys excited for the foreign exchange program in China too? Like, oh, people would be so confused. I was watching that video over and I was like, oh my God, I need to get a haircut. So I went and got a haircut. Oh my, what is this? But yeah, that's my story. If you were in my orientation group, what fun times we experienced together.
I think this is amazing. I think I particularly found this funny as a Spanish professor, so I can really see one of my students because this is a Chinese student, and so he's like in the Chinese, and this is not a Chinese individual talking about like, I mean, just, I love when something is being interpreted in a certain way where people are talking
Like
about
they
what
know.
they think is the same thing.
Yeah.
And then they realize that they are in no way talking about the same thing.
This is hilarious to me. May I also add that he just randomly gets a haircut at the end too, which is adds to his chaoticness of the video. But I was thinking back to my business school orientation, and it's just reminiscent of when people would tell me what their jobs were. And I was like cosplaying as pretending to know what they did in finance. I was like, money, sales, supply chain. Shout out to Karen. And then eventually I learned, but I was like, oh, what the fuck are all these people doing?
Well, this is just so good because it's like, I really love the culture. And you're like, the culture of, I mean, just imagining being another student in that group being like, the culture of computer programming. Like, I mean, I guess that is a culture. So that was lovely. That's the type of content. In terms of other things, you know what? I'm fully uninterested in Rush Talk now.
It's surpassed its lifetime. I just had this memory of the NYU COVID meals when that time happened. Like, I was
the watermelon salad.
The watermelon salad, like the gross, I don't know, was it like this gross dried chicken? But those TikToks were riveting. I think everything has a time and place, and Rush Talk, there's going to be something new. Something,
well, I think Rush Talk was new and interesting
and now
at the time, and now it's old hat. We want novelty. And it's kind of also when you like are watching reality TV like Vanderpump, and then no one actually works at the restaurant anymore, and they're just trying to keep the show alive. And it's like, we get that you all are trying to ride this wave as much as possible, or like actually get on the wave as freshmen, but I simply am no longer interested.
We'll get Rush Talk and we'll get new characters, so I guess you become invested in these new characters. So there'll be a breakout Rush Talk star, but it won't be as big of a cultural phenomenon because that wave has passed.
I also didn't really engage with it last year, but I was aware of some of the Rush Talk individuals.
Right, you can't escape it.
Yeah, it's hard to escape.
But speaking of waves and seasons of TikTok, the Olympics is a great example because, I mean, the last Olympics we had, people were really TikToking and we started seeing it there. But this year, it's like every single Olympian is TikToking. It's just ballooned. But then we'll get another Olympics, and it's a different cast of characters, you know. This year we had the Muffin Man, and who's to say what we'll have in the next Olympic villages, but it's cyclical.
I also find the Olympic TikTokers, the Olympians who are choosing to TikTok, is an interesting, like you guys were saying, it's an angle or a perspective that we didn't get before from inside the Olympic Village and inside the Olympic
Exactly.
experience. But it's also funny seeing how being an elite athlete, even in the Olympics, when you're not like a basketball player, you're just like whatever, regular, I don't even know what the Muffin Man is, a swimmer. But that is also so personality driven at this point, where if you can be charismatic online, you draw people in and you're creating a career beyond even your sport. But it's crazy to think like these people are like the best in the world at their sport, and now they're also becoming influencers.
Right, and they're having their viral moments, like the Stephen Pommelhorst guy. He's
Well,
extremely viral now.
But that's a different type of persona online, because he was not going into the Olympics cultivating his
True.
platform. People found him.
Yes.
Whereas others, like Alana, the rugby player,
Ilona
Ilona
Maher.
and Muffin Man are very much doing like internet personality like content as an athlete. So there's a difference between the athletes who people make content about and then the athletes who are making their own content.
That's right. And that brings us to your first Olympic For You page video by a user named Anna_Demmer. And it reads, watching Kristen Faulkner win a gold medal, knowing she started cycling because she liked riding her bike in Central Park. This is so sweet. So
This is you. This is the reason
this is
that
me
I
running
sent
in
this to
Central
you.
Park.
No,
Yeah.
but this is you. Like, you want to be in the Olympics. This is what you need to do.
Start cycling in Central Park? No.
You just need to find something you're actually good at.
I saw a lot of videos of people saying they're like delulu enough, or they're saying my toxic trait is thinking that I could be in the Olympics. Like, my dream, yes, is to be in the Olympics, but I don't think I have that toxic trait, or I'm not delusional enough to be like, I can get there. But I do blame my parents for not enrolling me in bobsledding at a young age, because I think I missed my calling.
Yeah, that bobsledding career path that is really easy to access from Long Island.
Exactly.
For sure.
I mean, my parents should have moved to Salt Lake City or somewhere with a bobsled track, and I would have been like a
Lake
80
Placid.
Exactly. Further upstate New York. Yeah.
When I was watching Shelly Ann Fraser-Price and I looked up her age and she's 37, I was like, I have 2 years.
Right. But this is her fourth Olympics. She's a little experienced. But this Christine Faulkner, I think she's 30 or 31. And I mean, good for her.
I think if you did a little bit of digging, you would see that she probably was an elite athlete in some other category. Doesn't that happen with some of the less mainstream sports, that they're sort of recruited to start playing that sport? Not like biking is not mainstream, but
a lot
I'm thinking
of sprinters become losers or bobsledders because they're fast at sprinting and getting the thing. So I wouldn't be that position in bobsledding because I'm really slow, but somehow I would be good at some position maybe.
I think I'd be the bobsled.
That would be painful. You'd have like 5 people sitting on you.
When you all were talking about some video about people being like dragged up a hill at Oktoberfest, and you were trying to compare it to something, what I was thinking of was the alpine slide at some of these autumnal resorts, which is kind of like a bobsled, but no ice or snow.
True.
Just a slide.
I have been bobsledding. When I went to Sundance, when I went to Salt Lake City, I paid like $400 or $200. I forgot. It was just an obscene amount because I needed to go bobsledding. And it was so fun. I did have a lot of bruises because my arms kept hitting the side because I was holding on. But the person who takes you on the bobsledder was an ex-Olympian.
Ooh.
And I felt safe. It was
Did you
so
go
fun.
very fast?
Yeah, you go. I definitely went faster than 60 miles per hour. I forgot what our fastest thing was, but it feels real fast. Yeah.
Wow.
Let's move on to your next video that came up on your For You page by Kristen Lovin Life. And this is actually me at the Olympics.
I literally can't watch the Olympics. Like, I don't care what country wins. Whenever someone wins, I just lose it. Like, and someone's gonna win. Oh my god, I'm just so proud of them. Like, they worked so hard for this. When the coach, I can't. I just can't.
This actually reminded me of Ashley, friend of the pod, because Ashley is such a crier, big crying energy. She cries when she listens to music. And then she told us that she was crying whenever people were winning. Now, something I found is that sometimes when I'm watching, I don't cry if it's replay, but if it's live, I might cry.
Oh, even if it's replay, if it's a surprise, I'll cry. Today, I watched the floor routines, the gymnast floor routines.
Oh, I have to watch those.
I cried. Oh, they're so beautiful and it's just moving.
Well, also the relationship between like the U.S. athletes and the Brazilian athletes is so cute and just really kind and supportive, and I like that type of attitude in the games.
Yes, girls supporting girls.
Gymnasts supporting gymnasts.
Indeed.
You know what I thought when I was watching Simone Biles? I truly cannot even do a cartwheel.
I can't even do a somersault.
Never in my life have I been able to do a cartwheel. When I was little, I couldn't even do monkey bars.
I broke my hand trying to do a handstand, and my brother just told me he pushed me, which I didn't remember. So now, all that built up trauma over the years.
I could do a handstand in a pool. And Buckeyes, by the way, OSU Buckeyes, I was looking at which people... Oh, sorry, my brain is all over the place right now. Welcome to my brain. I was looking at which students go or which Olympians go to different universities in the United States. And I saw that a large contingent, or maybe two, of, so for me large,
So large.
of the artistic swimming, aka synchronized swimming team are current students at OSU.
OSU?
I think there's actually 3 of them. And then...
I'm not surprised. OSU's a big sports school.
It's D1 Big Ten sports, and
Yeah.
the person who beat Sha'Carri Richardson is a former student of UT Austin.
The St. Lucia sprinter?
Yeah. She went to UT Austin.
Wow.
Right?
You are a professor at all the most sporty schools.
Exactly. As a sportif individual, I must be at a sportif school. What about you, Dinar?
Well, on my For You page, as I said, Olympics, and there is the French pole vaulter whose bulge has been making waves around the internet. A lot of people think it got him disqualified from the pole vault because it looks like his little dingling hit the pole. However, there's articles now that it wasn't actually his bulge that got him disqualified, like his shin hit it first. But the internet is ablaze. He is on TikTok now. His name is Anthony Ammirati, and his username is Anthony Ammirati on TikTok.
Excellent.
So speaking of, you were talking about, Stephen Pommel Horse guy, people making memes and then him meeting them there on the internet. This guy did that too. He wrote, and it's in French, but it's POV, you make more buzz for your bulge than for your performances. And it's just text over him eating this, what looks to be a lovely breakfast.
But
so he's going along with it.
So he wasn't disqualified based on his dingling, as you say?
No, apparently his shin had hit it first, officially, but then his bulge hit it as well. So it appeared to the lay person like me or your eye that it was his dingling.
I mean, his penis made contact with that pole.
Oh, yeah. It made a lot of content.
Hooked the pole, I just think
it's
I would
quite a
strap it
bulge.
in a little bit tighter.
That's what everyone's saying. Why didn't his coaches say, get some tape, get a strap, I don't know.
Get a strap.
The next thing on my For You page is Olympian Jade Carey. She's on the women's gymnastics team. The women's gymnastics team has been doing a lot of great content. I love them. She uses a very funny audio.
Are you happy to be in Paris?
We.
When they say we, that they're happy, she just throws up her 2 Olympic medals. They're good with the content. And I like to see them doing the content because they do very Gen Z content that's normally not on my For You page. So it's a lot of the popular audios or popular dance trends, and I get to see what's cool.
One of the audios that they're using a lot in the Olympics content is the I think you're just here for the zipline audio.
Oh,
what is that from?
Leave. Oh, we talked about it's from I Think You Should Leave, which is Tim Robinson, which is one of Ben's favorite shows. That's why I know it. It was a sketch, and it was making fun of The Bachelorette. The guy, instead of like going on a date with the Bachelorette, was just going on the zip line in this skit.
I see.
Yeah, so the Muffin Man used it, but instead of zip line, it was like about the muffins. I think you're just here for the muffins.
Yes. Okay. Yes, you did talk about this. Now I know. I've never seen I Think You Should Leave.
Oh, I feel like you and Ivan would really enjoy it.
Well, maybe I'll give it a little watchy watch.
Please do. Let's move on. Our food and drink section. We have Cucumber Talk. Cucumber Talk is just taking TikTok by storm. And I think I would say it's probably a millennial thing because all of my friends seem to be on Cucumber Talk.
I think there's 2 food talks that are currently popular on the platform. And I think it's because it's summer. And it is. Last summer was the summer of pasta salad.
True.
We're still seeing the pasta salads, but now we're seeing the dense bean salad.
Oh, yes.
That's very big on the platform right now. And the other one is, as you say, the cucumbers, but primarily this one creator, whereas the dense bean salad is more of an overarching food trend.
Yeah, the creator's name is Logan. His handle is at LOGAGM.
Logagum.
Logagum. He's blown up and he's seeing that these videos work. So I guess like how many ways can you make cucumber? So in his latest video, he's in a body of water. It looks like he's in a lake and he's making this cucumber dish in the lake.
Sometimes you have to eat an entire cucumber. This is the best way to do it. First, slice your entire cucumber. Add a little bit of soy sauce, a little bit of sesame oil, and then a little bit of rice wine vinegar, 1 clove of grated garlic, a little bit of chili oil, MSG obviously, and then a bunch of sesame seeds. Okay, I'm so excited. Make sure you shake it super well. Shake, 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 shake. Let's try it. Look how good that looks.
And he changed his bio to join the cucumber community. I don't think he was always making cucumber before.
But this is what hit.
He always has done Asian inspired foods, but his big thing before was making things with kimchi. And a lot of Korean food on here. He has 4 million followers now. That's wild.
This reminds me of Jake Shane, when Jake Shane started doing all those history videos, and then it was what struck
and really
gold,
blew up.
and then really blew up. So he kept doing more and more, and then he amassed his following. It's like, okay, this one cucumber video amassed a following, and then you keep doing more and more. And I don't know, the algorithm likes it, but I like it.
Something I'm also noticing is that he doesn't really have pinned videos. So I'm trying to find the cucumber video of his that has the most views. So far, there's one that has 7.8 million views, but it's not pinned. So I find that curious. But even before the cucumbers, he was getting a lot of views. So this is someone who was already a pretty big food creator, specifically Korean food. And then the cucumber videos they really hit. But it's not like he got started based on the cucumber videos. Like he's been making, he has this kimchi video with 8.9 million views. This is a very large creator.
You know what other food item has blown up this summer? It's the sandwich of no bread. So obviously, we talked about
comments about this.
Yeah, we obviously talked about the pickle one and the pepper one, but now it's the mozzarella.
No, disgusting diarrhea.
But explain it.
It's 2 logs of mozzarella.
Yeah,
it's basically caprese salad, but you are just eating it as if it were a sandwich.
I don't have such a bad reaction as you do. I would try it.
Appalled by all of this because the only place I've ever seen red pepper as a sandwich bread on the internet is diet culture videos.
Okay.
And so I just find this all to be, I'm triggered. This is diet culture. The pickle sandwich seems wet to me.
It is.
We should just eat bread. Everyone needs to stop replacing bread. This is like when we were eating zucchini as pasta. I'm triggered. I hate it. And I want everyone to stop.
Wait, speaking of getting triggered by food stuff, we were saying we've both been on a lot of I don't want to say anti-Liv Schmidt videos, but
I'm on anti-Liv Schmidt videos.
It is anti, but it's not it's anti what she's putting out there, which is a form of diet culture that I thought we had nixed, and a lot of people thought we had nixed. And a lot of people who have histories with eating disorders have said she's been really triggering for them. So I am getting a lot of that content of people being like, Liv Schmidt needs to stop.
Yes, I've been getting a lot of Liv Schmidt responses and also a lot of anti-King Krabby Patty, the user responses. King Krabby Patty is a user who got popular because she would make these videos of her taking a walk and basically saying like, you're fat, get off your ass, go take a walk to herself. And so people were engaging with that and saying like, you know, some people are really into that because they're like, this is motivating, this is the way that I need to speak to myself. A therapist that I had, if they were to speak to these people, would say that they need to learn self-compassion.
Yeah. I would agree.
But it's funny because they're getting lumped in together, and I saw a video of the King Krabby Patty girl saying that she doesn't like that people are thinking that they're producing the same content, because Liv Schmidt's content is very
Diet.
Not just diet, but not eating.
Right. Like 1,200 calorie a day type thing.
Right. It's like, this is how I stay skinny. I stay skinny by not eating, and sort of giving a roadmap to that and glamorizing anorexia, essentially. And whereas the King Krabby Patty claims that her whole thing, even though hers is also very fat phobic, all of it is obviously fat phobic, but her whole thing is she's saying that hers is about, she would never tell people not to eat. It's just about eating healthier. So, you know, it's
very nuanced.
okay, guys.
They're both in these like gray areas, but
They're not in a gray area. What gray area is Liv
No,
Schmidt in, Dina?
what I'm talking about is a gray area that intersects each other. Their
I
Venn
mean, saying that
diagram,
one,
like the circle in their Venn diagram, I'm saying, is gray.
the thesis of both of these girls' presence on the internet is fat equals bad, disgusting, and ugly. And they have different ways of expressing that.
Yes. And what I'm saying is those different ways are gray.
I don't think gray, but it is true that the different ways are different.
Yes. Yes.
But I bet, so for example, King Krabby Patty might eat a sandwich where the bread is red peppers, whereas the other one wouldn't eat it.
Okay, yes. But I gotta say, I really enjoyed the red pepper sandwich because the crunch
I'm
was
bothered.
great. So it
Just put bread in
tasted
it.
good. No, I love bread and I'm a fan of bread, but I was also loving that red pepper sandwich with the turkey in it.
It's like a lettuce wrapped burger. It's just
Ew,
wrong.
no, very different. Very different.
It's just wrong.
I'm sorry you're so triggered.
We need to
Let's
move
move
on.
on. Yeah. There's an amazing video by Meg Ruocco, and she talks about the cucumber talk.
I don't know how it happened, but somehow my For You page has become 10% Chapel Roan, 10% the pommel horse guy, and like 80% that guy who eats a cucumber every single day. And fuck it if I haven't been influenced, okay? I went to Trader Joe's the other day. I got 6 cucumbers. I've already eaten 2 of them. It's only been a day. Yesterday, I was slicing up my little cucumber, and in my head, I was like, gotta remember to shake it once it's in the container. He's always shaking it. He always reminds us. He says, shake it really well. Gotta get all this stuff on it. I've been so charmed by his whimsy and his vegetable spells. The other day, I was thinking to myself, I gotta get myself a little Tupperware container like he has. Hey, pause. A normal soup-to-go container? I'm like that little rodent that's following the other rodents off the cliff just because everyone is doing it. And I'm like, yeah, yum, 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 cucumber, fish sauce. This guy's my favorite guy easily on the internet right now. I know people are loving the muffin guy. Me too. Loving the pommel horse guy, same. Freddy Flips, the guy who did the bars, love that guy. But I am fully a cucumber head on Cucumber Talk, loud and proud.
She's spot on. I think that's great. Although,
Not just cucumber.
what I will say is that I am not following the cucumber guy. Even though I love him, but I'm not actually making the cucumbers because I'm not like the biggest cucumber fan. But I like to watch his videos.
I'm a big cucumber salad fan, and I think the only reason why I haven't made one of these salads yet is because I've been in Europe and haven't been really like doing much at home cooking.
Right.
But now that I'm back, I probably will make one of these. I want everyone to be really careful with their microplanes because that is how you cut your thumb off.
Okay. Yes. Words of the wise. You could just use a knife to chop cucumbers.
I mean, I think it's nice to microplane things because it's the exact same size and it's fast and it's even, you know. But just be careful.
You know who loves cucumbers?
Who?
My turtle. Little D
I don't
loves
think that Little D
cucumbers.
would like. I don't think Little D wants a cucumber salad.
No, she can't have a cucumber salad. She just likes raw cucumbers.
No. I have made several times a Din Tai Fung cucumber salad dupe. Dupe? Remember that?
Yeah. Wow, that's a blast from the past.
Right? And I've also had a kimchi cucumber that Ivan made once that was really good, like a pickled kimchi cucumber. So I need to get on the cucumber salad
I
bandwagon.
really hope we get into Din Tai Fung next weekend or this weekend.
Oh, yeah,
whenever
we're gonna try.
planning on going.
We're gonna
try. We'll report back. I can't wait. Next, we have our New York City section, and actually, Ashley, friend of the pod, sent us these videos, and I think they're great for our New York City section. The first is by Nick Polina.
People in New York aren't like naturally chuggy, but there is things in New York that are like New York chuggy that wouldn't be chuggy other places, but like here you're not necessarily gonna find someone with like a live, laugh, love poster. So like those kind of like chuggy levels are out. For example, going to a Starbucks and getting coffee at a Starbucks instead of like a local coffee shop is chuggy. Clubbing in Manhattan, chuggy. Waiting in line and going to restaurants like Jack's Wife Frida, Serafina, really waiting in line for anything in New York, chuggy. Living in Manhattan, chuggy. Going out in West Village, wearing flip-flops that don't separate your feet from the ground, Ubering everywhere, chuggy. Shopping at like big box stores like Zara. Like, don't get me wrong, me making this list, chuggy. Influencers, chuggy. Filming on the streets of Soho, chuggy. I'm not saying I don't fall into that. I'm just saying that in other places, these things would not be considered chuggy, but specifically in New York City, these things become a different level of like New York City chuggy.
The comments on this video are very much attacking her. And she keeps being like, it's a joke, guys. It's a joke. So I sort of feel bad for her because she was trying to be funny, but people are like,
Yeah.
you're a transplant. You don't know anything. Or like, how can you say Manhattan's chuggy? So her humor definitely didn't hit.
Right.
But I mean, I think it's funny.
I think I understand where she's going, where she's trying to be like, what's basic in New York that we wouldn't always
In Manhattan.
have thought was basic before.
Yeah.
But I think it was the wrong public that received the video.
Correct. Yeah. The comments were not supportive of her comedy.
And I think that you are hard pressed to have a positive experience if you are a non-New Yorker born and raised who is trying to say something negative about people living in New York. It's going to be hard. I mean, J-Lo, literally from the Bronx, can't catch a break. Can't catch a break.
Let's all feel bad for J-Lo. Yeah.
Right? Justice for J-Lo. J4J. I'm just saying that I think that it is a tough type of humor to try to do because people are so intense about what's New York, what's not New York, what's appropriate New York. And something I love about New York is that there's so many types of New York. There's so many
and
experiences in the city, and people who think there's only one New York City experience are the ones who probably should be yelled at. Not this girl, though. I think I understand her humor. I could think of something that's I would just not say chuggy because I think actually what people took issue with was the use of the term chuggy.
Chuggy, yeah. But that's part of her comedy. I once made a video about things that I can't believe are still around in New York. So like one example was Max Brenner. A lot of the comments, like people actually did like it and like found it was funny. We were like, oh, like I can't like agreed with a lot. But a lot of comments were just being like, the city's gentrified now. I'm like, okay, that's very serious. But like, yes, the city is getting gentrified, but has nothing to do with this video.
Getting gentrified.
Right. Is. Excuse me.
Girl.
Excuse me.
Girl. Well,
just saying what the comments said.
Ways of engaging with New York City. We had a very chuggy New York City experience this weekend where we went to a broy bar. Then we went to a restaurant owned by the owners of the Smith, which, if you know, one of the chuggiest restaurants in New York City.
Pizza was
good. And then we went to Times Square by choice.
Is Times Square chuggy? Wow, that's a question.
Yes.
No.
Times Square isn't just chuggy. I think our way of engaging with Times Square is, you know what I think is chuggy? People who live in New York and try to be cool. That's chuggy.
Well,
So I think that you have fully ascended in your New York experience when you don't give
I don't give a shit where I
anymore.
go. I just
You
wanna
don't care
go where
what
my
people
friends
think
are.
about you.
I like convenience. I don't care where I'm seen.
Okay, I don't think that Times Square is convenient.
Excuse me, it was the most convenient meeting spot for where we were meeting our friends who were downtown and we were uptown. What's in the middle? Times Square. Thank you. I rest
think
my
we
case.
could have selected. I think I stated let's go to Times Square as kind of a joke.
But you know
and
when
then
you say that in front of
latched
me.
onto it.
Of course, I'll always
know,
latch
I
on to
know,
a
I
Times
know.
Square moment.
I know. But I think that people who think they're too cool, people who think that, you know what's uncool in New York? Only staying in one borough, except Staten Island. I don't need to go there.
No, there's some really good food in Staten Island.
We had some very mediocre food in Staten Island.
We went to the wrong place. I just went with Sam and we had amazing food.
Well, we were supposed to have good food because it was the grandma's place.
Maybe, you know what? Probably wrong grandma that night. We got
Wrong
a bad grandma.
bad grandma that night. We got a bad grandma.
Okay, so there's a creator named Julia_AK who has a great response to the Manhattan Chuggy video.
I feel compelled to comment on this video that just showed up on my For You page by Nick Polina. I hope I pronounced your name right. All due respect to your 6.5 years living here, but as somebody who has 22 years of New York City living on you, I do have to issue one major correction to this video, which to be fair was most of the way right. The issue is that you said West Village. No, just West Village. That, my friends, is chuggy. What's wrong with the? This is a very recent phenomenon because transplants when I was growing up would say the. It's like you guys get here and think like, oh, I'm in New York City. I'm moving too fast to say an article. No one's moving too fast to say the. Please be for real. Please be for real. And like, again, most of your video was pretty correct. Like clubbing in Manhattan, incredibly deeply chuggy. Like, in fact, some fucking bar opened in my neighborhood in Queens. What had a bouncer out front wearing a fucking suit like it was Manhattan, and I was like, yeah, I'm never going to that fucking joint because that is what chuggy. So, you know, just this is like a tip from me to you, like from an old timer to a new timer. The West Village, the East Village. You omit that article, everyone fucking knows you're not from here because we be saying it's the West Village, the East Village. Come on now.
I love this too because yes, I say the West Village. So people you say West Village?
No, of course I say the West Village.
Right, yeah, exactly. It's the West Village. So the fact that the other girl said West Village is hilarious.
Do people say lower? Are you going out in Lower East Side?
I don't know.
Are you going out in East Village? Like, does that extend to all the neighborhoods?
I don't know. But I certainly say the. Then there's also this New York City debate of like, are you a real New Yorker based on how many years you've lived here? So a lot of people were saying, you know, if you've only been here 6 years, and say West Village, you're not a real New Yorker. How long do you think you need to live in a place to be considered a real resident of that place?
Oh, this is a dangerous topic because this could easily be like mapped onto xenophobia. I think that the notion of a real person from a real place is already wrong.
I agree. I would say there's literally like, it's so silly when people comment those things because you can't give a number of years or time or like there's no scale.
You live in New York City. Yeah. I mean, are you a person who lives in New York City who's stupid? That's very possible. But I'm not going to deny you identifying with being a person who lives in New York City.
Right. But that's what's funny. And a lot of the comments are saying like, oh, if you haven't lived here for more than 10 years, or if you only lived here 6 years.
Well, you probably know a lot less about the city, but I don't think that we should police people's identities.
Exactly. I would agree with that. But anyway, both these videos are funny.
I also think the other thing is that people like to identify with being from New York because it's cool, whereas like when I give people my driver's license and it says Ohio, I like want to scream, I'm not from there.
That's like really anti-Ohio, Catalina.
Sorry, but
Okay, let's
Ohio is chuggy.
God, this is so problematic. Let's move on to our last but not least thing. Have you been getting any videos where people are using the Bratz filter?
No.
Which is funny because it's Brat Summer, which is Charlie XCX, but the Bratz doll, I think that's maybe why I'm getting people using the Bratz doll filter. So it's just a filter that makes you a Bratz doll. Sense. But I can't believe you're not getting it.
Also, how dare you? You skipped my report on making a dense bean salad that was in the document.
Well, you want to go back to bean salad? Okay, let's go back. Sorry.
I just feel as though everyone needs to know that I made a dense bean salad and it had edamame in it and it was fine.
Oh, everyone definitely needed to know that, yes.
Okay, back to what's really important, which is the
Bratz filter.
I have not seen it. It does make sense. They're probably trying to capitalize on the fact that Brat Summer is trending. You know what I'm kind of waiting for is Brat Summer to become... I feel like with Kamala, Brat Summer is really on its downturn in terms of being too mainstream such that it's not cool anymore.
Yes.
Maybe it was never cool. I found it to be extremely fun. I was getting so many people asking me to explain what brat is, and I'm just like, brat is a state of mind. But there are a lot of internet explanations of what brat is.
Your Instagram posts from Europe were exclusively all labeled brat.
Well, that's not true. They weren't exclusively that way, but what I liked doing was putting things that were like very obviously not brat and putting brat on it.
That's so cool.
I'm so funny and cool. And then I made a bean salad. Aren't you so glad I'm back? If we had a call-in show, they'd be like, bring back Ashley.
I mean, Ashley did talk about her tofu that ran awry. And I just don't cook, so I have nothing to add. I don't even make a bean salad.
You know what's bean salad's good for?
Farting?
Pooping
and fart. Fiber. Fiber's important, and we should end on that.
Fiber.
Word to the wise, listeners. Eat more fiber, except when Catalina decided to take a bottle of fiber pills once, which you told on the podcast.
No, I took 4 laxatives.
Oh, instead of your fiber pills, right?
Yes, and I don't recommend it.
Okay, on that note, well, I'm so glad you're back. And thanks for listening.
Having me back.
Bye.